So the Edge is officially back, and this time it's nothing to do with the display. It's all about the form factor and, well, I guess the edge, which is the thickness of this phone, or should I say the thinness. Just taking a look at the side profile of this phone is completely mind-blowing, and the first thought when picking it up was just how light it was and how thin it was compared to all the other flagships we've seen so far. So the frame is 5.8 millimeters thin. It comes in titanium black and silver, and the form factor is honestly pretty refreshing. Now, it's not perfect because obviously there's going to be cons with having a thinner phone, but I feel like Samsung did a pretty good job, and it almost nails and checks every single box that you'd want in a flagship. The crazy thing is, stacking two of these phones together is almost as thick as the Ultra phone. It's a slight bit thicker, but just shows you how much you can actually pack in a super thin smartphone. And here in Canada, the craziest thing is you can actually take 3 $2 coins and stack them together. And this phone's not only thinner than that, but it's also lighter, which actually blew my mind when Samsung told me, like genuinely, just had to pick it up for myself. And it's incredible just how lightweight the phone is. It weighs just 163 grams, but despite that, it really doesn't feel cheap. In fact, it's probably one of the most premium feeling smartphones that I've held this year. And on the back of the phone, you have Victus 2 glass. On the front, you have Corning Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2. So it should be durable enough without a case. I personally wouldn't use a case because I love to feel the sleek design of the phone. Samsung do make some pretty stylish cases that you can pick up, and all of them look pretty cool. They come in some nice colors. There's a few different material options as well. I personally like the silicone ones, but they don't add too much thickness, and considering there's a really big camera bump, it might actually be a good thing because then it ends up leveling out the back of the phone. So let's talk about the displays. So Samsung displays have always been top tier, and this 6.7-inch Quad HD Plus Dynamic AMOLED 2X display, no exception. You're looking at rich colors, crisp contrast, it's buttery smooth thanks to that high refresh rate, and it's rocking 2600 nits of brightness, so super bright for, outdoors when you need that extra brightness. And with this screen size, the phone is kind of comparable to an Ultra and an S25 Plus fused together. That's kind of how it feels. Under the hood is rocking the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, which is the latest 3nm chip. We also get that in all the other S25 series phones, and this chip is 40% faster than the S24 series. It's paired with 12GB of RAM and either 256 storage or 512. But yeah, this thing absolutely flies. I tested it on the S25 Ultra in my video, and it handled every single task I threw at it, from gaming, heavy multitasking. It really didn't break a sweat, so I assume the same performance is going to be here. So now let's talk about the cameras. I know a lot of people are going to be curious because Samsung's always had like multiple cameras on the back. Normally they throw a lot on the back of the phone, and this phone's only rocking 2, so let's talk about them. So we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens and a massive 200 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f1.7. That's the same high resolution main sensor that we've seen on the Ultra, but with a much simpler layout minus the telephoto lens. And look, you're not gonna get crazy 100 times zooms like you are on the Ultra. But for everyday photography, sharp details, great colors, and solid low light performance, it's actually excellent, and you still have all of those software features that you get on the rest of the S25 lineup. You're still getting the ability to shoot in RAW as well as record up to 8K 30 frames per second in log, which is amazing for content creators or anyone that wants to grade their footage. On the front, it's a little bit more simple, but still decent. We have a 12 megapixel lens. Honestly, it's fine, it holds up, especially for selfies, video calls, maybe a little bit over sharpened at times, but you can turn that down in the settings. I think the biggest worry that most people are going to have with this phone is battery life, because there's obviously going to be some compromise when you're making a phone thinner and lighter when it comes to how much battery you can fit in. So we do have a smaller battery. It's a 3900 milliamp hour cell, which does sound small, but remember the phone is lighter, slimmer, and more efficient thanks to the 3nm chip. And Samsung personally even told me this phone can handle 24 hours of video playback, which if true is pretty impressive. Honestly, it can likely mostly get you through the day with moderate usage, but I'm an absolute power user and I like everything set to the max. So for me, I don't really know how it's going to hold up. I'm going to have to see for myself, but I imagine I'm going to have to top it up at least once a day. I have my screen resolution set to maximum, as well as the brightness. I often play games and use a lot of the camera features. So yeah, I feel like it's probably not going to be as good as the other phones because it's just physics. but I will have to put it to the test, so I will be doing more thorough testing as soon as I actually get my phone. You do have 25-watt super fast wireless charging, which isn't mind-blowing, but it's super nice to have so you can trickle charge at your desk or in your car just to keep your charge topped up throughout the day. But yeah, I am definitely not power sharing to any iPhone users anymore. Definitely not gonna happen. You still have the usual security features. The ultrasonic fingerprint scanner is still under the display. You also have 2D facial recognition. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing new, but still fast and reliable. Honestly, this phone is just clean. So in terms of the price point, this phone starts at $1,200 USD or $1,678.99 Canadian, and that's for the 256 version. So if you want to bump that up and get the 512, the price bumps up to $1,340 US or $1,858.99 Canadian. So that's definitely some premium pricing right there. But here's the thing. You don't get those ultra features like the extra zoom lens or the S Pen. You also get a smaller display, smaller battery. Yes, it's more pocketable and more comfortable possibly, and it's still super powerful, but it seems like this phone is targeted to a really niche customer group, and that's the people that favor form factor over everything else. You still have all those software features and all the Galaxy AI that you have on the whole S25 lineup, and you also have wireless DeX on this phone. So if you're looking for the Ultra, but you don't use the S Pen, you want something slightly cheaper that's thinner and more portable with a big bright display that's futuristic, then this definitely does show what's possible. And I'd highly recommend it. If that's the type of person that you are and you want something like this, then go for it. Just remember to pack a charger if you are traveling. So yeah, I had some hands-on time with this phone. Samsung kindly invited me down to the studio in Toronto and I got hands-on, and there was only 4 devices, so we were kind of sharing it between the creators, and we got to take a look at the cases as well as the new anti-reflective screen protector. The screen does have an anti-reflective coating baked in, still the same as the S25 Ultra. To my eyes, it didn't quite look as anti-reflective. It looked a little bit glossy, and so I will need more time to actually give you more information on like battery life and how it holds up and just using it on a daily basis, especially without the zoom lens, because I feel like that's kind of the whole Samsung identity right now, to me anyway. So let me know the type of content you want to see, subscribe down below, hit the bell icon, and also leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this phone. Are you going to be sticking with the regular S25, S25 Plus, which I feel is most comparable to this phone, or even S25 Ultra? Let me know your thoughts. I personally think this does have its place and it is really amazing as like a proof of concept. Still personally feel like the Ultra is just my type of phone because I'm just an absolute power user. But yeah, that is it guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.